Hey, what's up everybody? I feel like my hair is a mess and my skin is breaking out everywhere, but I'm simply too hype about Wheel of Time to take a break from re-watching season 1 to put on my channel with you all. I have the first episode releasing as a premiere, like watch together live thing on Saturday, but I might post this one and the subsequent rewatch videos on Sundays, just because Sunday evening feels like a nice, chill, cozy time when people are wrapping everything up from the hecticness that can be the weekends sometimes. So hopefully we'll all have done whatever we needed to do and can get together Sunday nights to rewatch the show together. So let me know what you think about that. But without any further ado, let's watch Shadows Waiting. Oh, opening on what's probably my least favorite scenes in all of season 1 and maybe the entire series so far. I mean, I guess I have to hand it to them for doing such a good job introducing us to the White Cloaks and Aemon Valda and the Questioners in particular in such a vile, like reprehensible, outright villain way like this. They're really not pulling any punches with Valda here and showing us just how reprehensible he is. So I think he was maybe the character that I loved to hate the most in season 1. I don't know about any of you guys.
From the Lord, Captain, for your victory today. May you always walk in the light, sir.
What's in the dome?
Have you ever tried this?
A weird spiky bird thing? I don't know. It doesn't look very pleasant. But I guess just goes to show you his character. Man, I don't know that they really needed to go this far with having him cut off the hands of female channelers. And I don't think that point was quite emphasized so much in the novels of women needing to use their hands to do weaves, although I think it is definitely a crutch that is mentioned, that you can sometimes be handicapped by who you were taught by in the tower, because every sister kind of has their own little quirks and methods and weaves and things that they might have just learned on their own and chosen to share or not share, which can be an overall weakness for the Aes Sedai. But other than like it making Egwene a stronger and more capable channeler to have to learn so early on to not rely on her hands to channel and do weaves, I don't know. Maybe they went too hard with that one, or maybe I just personally find it morally reprehensible and just very distasteful. And then right back to the Emmons Fielders, still fleeing from the Trollocs. I kind of wish we'd gotten more Trollocs in season 2. I feel like looking back when Lanfear was storming the Foregate, maybe it would have been cool if she brought some Trollocs with her just to maybe distract from her presence and have this pop up that we do see in the novels of like surprise Trollocs just popping up anywhere and everywhere.
Walls won't stop Trollocs. The only thing they fear is deep water.
I wonder they smell like piss. Oh.
Maybe a little bit of some matte humor there, although a little bit of wry humor.
We need to cross the Taran immediately.
Of course, mistress, of course. My son will be here soon, and then we...
Twice that when we're safely on the other side.
I mean, you could just give the man a heads up as to... But I guess
You're not the type of woman that hears no.
if some lady showed up at the ferry in the middle of nowhere, 2 rivers, and told you that Trollocs were chasing them, you probably wouldn't believe her unless you, like the Emmons Fielders, had seen them with your own two eyes, because up until this point, they were just fairy tale nonsense. Man, they really had no time to spare. And this guy's probably like, what the fuck are those? I guess maybe hooves aren't very good for swimming. Or maybe like Matt said, the Trollocs are just really averse to bathing. A little column A, a little column B. And again, we hear that Pat and Fane whistle, but here with the fade. I think they did a really good job with the merge roll and how they're portrayed. Definitely super creepy. Hate that. You don't have to give them those mouths full of teeth like that. They went there and it's effective. Effective nightmare fuel coming from someone that really is creeped out by anglerfish and things with lots of nasty, sharp, pointy teeth in general.
Fane can force a Trolloc to do most things, but they won't cross that river. Come. We'll take you safely to the next town.
What? No, no! My family!
There's no going back now, Master.
My son is on his way already. He'll be there in a moment. You have to help me. We can't leave him.
If you go back, you'll give them a way to follow us. I can't allow it.
Definitely seeing the hardcore side. Ends justify the mean side of Moraine here, but she is a woman on a mission. She's got to protect the Dragon Reborn. We're thinking about the bigger picture here. Tarmangadan, the last battle is upon us, so sacrifices unfortunately are going to be made. And I do kind of agree with her that this guy was being a dumbass and just made himself collateral damage here. It's unfortunate that his family is probably going to meet a harsh end at the hands of the Trollocs should they choose to go into town.
We need to help him.
He's gone.
But I think Moraine brings up a good point later when she's like, those people were already dead. There was not going to be any saving them. There was not going to be any of that man going back and saving anybody. He would have just been immediate fodder for the Trolloc cookpots. And like she said, given them a way of following everybody. We can definitely see everyone's very uncomfortable. And we're running, and we're running. Again, still love the landscapes that they've shot and created,
We've lost him.
Come, we'll find
giving
a
that
place to rest while we can.
epic scope
Careful, everyone. There are things
of
more dangerous than
Randland.
Trollocs in this world.
Love that we see book accurate Moraine here using the one power to reinvigorate their horses as she does in Eye of the World. At some cost to herself.
So do you.
Just imagine if Nynaeve was here. She'd spent every waking moment disagreeing with the Aes Sedai.
Accurate.
She made Moraine's life utter misery.
I saw it. Nynaeve get taken. One of those things just picked her up and tossed her away like she was nothing.
Something that quick. I promise you she don't feel a thing. We need a plan.
Perrin obviously
You're sort of ready to
hinting
fair,
at the fate of
What
his
happens to us if we
wife
survive?
because none of his friends know
One of us
yet
is
that
the dragon
he was the
reborn,
actual cause of
most
her
powerful
death,
chandler that
and
ever
he's
lived.
kind of
Moiraine said the Trollocs
letting
waited
them
for us.
all
When we left, they
believe
did follow
by
us.
perhaps lying by
Even knows what
omission
the truth is.
that
They say the last
she
dragon
died
broke
because of the
world, The next
Trollocs.
one will save it.
Well, I heard the dragon's gonna have wings. Looking round at you lot, I don't see a feather.
Forget what you've heard about the dragon. For sure, he will be all of those things, and none of them. Now sleep. You're going to need it. We leave at first light.
For a minute, I thought that was a fade sneaking up on everyone, but just Moraine being Lurky McLurkerson. And Rand being Creepy McCreeperson. I wonder if she used some kind of weave there with that hand gesture to subtly wake Egwene without waking the others. But because we're seeing it from Rand's point of view there, we didn't see anything being channeled. Because I've said that whichever character's perspective we're seeing things from could change what kind of effects we're seeing for channeling, and perhaps if it's Rand, seeing them at all.
They're the promises made by the Aes Sedai to end Arta Hawkwing's siege of the White Tower.
And what are they?
To not kill, to not lie.
Exact verbiage.
Egwene getting some brief schooling
Words are
here.
important, and how we use them is important.
And also, I think, give us, the audience, a little bit of exposition here on the Aes
No
Sedai
word is not
and how they operate.
2, to make no weapon with which one person may kill another. 3,
Because we will see they are
never
literally
to use the
bound
one power as a weapon,
by these
except
3
in the
oaths,
last
for better or
extreme defense
worse.
of her life, or the life of her warder, or another Aes Sedai. These oaths are bound by
I think
the
it's
one
also
power
what
itself.
goes
It's
a
not
long way
to
toward
pick
giving the
so
Aes
we can.
Sedai
He did not kill that ferryman.
their
Wasted his own life on
rumored
the foolish
image
war.
amongst the widespread populace in general of, oh, an Aes Sedai can never lie, but they can bend the truth however they see fit and talk around it and be very manipulative in other ways. And it's generally well known by even people from the Two Rivers that they are like that. And I think that also speaks to the name Aes Sedai coming from a she, this is she or Fae folk, and how you have to deal with them.
Have to predict the weather.
They are also rumored to not be able to lie.
They listen to the wind. You see, women all over the world have different names for it. But it's the same thing.
Getting some brief
It's the
exposition
same
here
thing for all of us.
on the one power and how it works.
One thing. One power. And women like you and I, we're lucky enough to be able to touch it.
I'm no Aes Sedai.
But you could be. Touching the source will come to you whether you want it to or not. Look at the stone. Look at its surface. It's clear.
I love that we get this first little hint here, even though we don't see her wearing it until later, that even though she's not wearing it here and being book accurate Moraine, wearing the jewel on her forehead that Kyrianan women wear, we are seeing a little Easter egg and hint here that she does own it.
Everything. There are no woods. There is no hunger. No exhaustion. There is only the stone and the sound of rushing water. Let it take you.
Again,
Surrender. Let yourself
hearkening back to her trial
drift.
amongst the women's circle, like I said, with the banks of the river being a metaphor for channeling
I
Sidar.
thought I felt something, but
You have to surrender to it and let it kind of fill you up like you're a cup, and it's the water.
And yours alone. You don't listen to the wind, Egwene. It's It's the wind that listens to you.
Shifting Egwene's whole perspective here, rocking her world, and I think igniting that further spark and passion, because one thing that I also love, that I've always loved about Egwene and makes me stand her so hard, is just that I see a lot of myself in her. We have that shared love of learning and passion for learning new things. She wants to make more of herself and be more in the world than just a housewife from the Two Rivers. And yet we still see her immediately go and seek comfort from Rand. After perhaps further making that choice that she knows is gonna distance herself from him. Because we see his immediate, like, reluctance to follow Moraine and just obey her every word and follow her instructions, no questions asked. The beginning of also angsty, broody Perrin. I'm not really sure why he feels the need to hide the fact that he's hurt from everyone. Like, we all know we were fighting Trollocs back in the Two Rivers, and even Moraine got hurt. So, why are you hiding this fact, Perrin? You need medical attention, Perrin.
Do you think we'll ever go back?
Home.
No.
Well, accurate for her, not so much for him. We know Perrin's going back to Two Rivers next season, so. But I think, especially after her conversation with Moraine, she's already got that spark of inspiration and fully on board for going to the tower to potentially be an Aes Sedai, as Moraine suggested. So, yeah, I think she was already cutting her ties with the idea of marrying Rand to go train with Nynaeve, and now that she thinks that's out of the picture, she, I think, is even more willing to just leave the Two Rivers behind, especially after what just happened there. Ugh, I hate this. It's so good with it, but it's so gross. I do love that we are getting book accurate Baal-Zaman fucking with everybody in the World of Dreams like he does in the books. And I'm okay with the fact that they didn't draw it out for too long, because I think it was going on for like 2 books or more in the novels, but here we just get a brief introduction and just enough to like up that spooky factor. But I like that we're getting early tidbits being fed to us for things like concepts like the World of Dreams.
No. How did...
You saw them too.
But it was a dream.
Again, Rand just immediate suspicion turned on Moraine. He just like really does not trust Aes Sedai from the get-go. And I get that it's because of what I said before about how like even people from the Two Rivers know that they can not lie but still have their own agendas and manipulate people.
I could feel the crap.
Was there anyone in your dream?
But I don't think anyone else
Did anyone speak to you?
has quite the amount of distrust for her that Rand does at this point.
He didn't say anything.
If this happens again, you tell me straight away. Dreams have power. More than you know.
What does that mean?
Come. Horses
Ugh.
arrested.
No, no, no.
And I love that scene where we get the very beginnings of
Where are we
Rand's
going?
angry side. Especially where butting heads with Moraine is
To the river
concerned.
crossing at Whitebridge.
And then?
And then to the White Tower.
And I hope we see a little bit more of this
Why
side
should
of
we trust
Rand
you?
as the show progresses and he has to come to grips
What
more
does
and
a man
more
do at
with
the White Tower?
Sidene
I'm
and
become an errand boy for the Aes Sedai.
not only its effects on, like, not only
How come I don't believe
being
it
a male
actually
channeler and its effects on him, but being the Dragon Reborn and that effect on him mentally.
Well, you got a reaction out of her? Happy?
Again,
Suit yourself.
Egwene being kind of more willing here to align herself with Moraine and the Aes Sedai.
One conversation and you're now
Rand calling her out on it.
What did she promise you last night? That you're the
Thinking,
one.
oh, so you should just tell you you're the one, because Rand at this point, spoilers, like if you haven't read the novels or seen the show before, Rand I think already knows at this point, as we know from the flashback that we get from his conversation with Tam,
how pale she's getting, how weak.
that he might be the chosen one. He knows that he's the one of these things that's not like the others, and was not born in Emond's Field like the others. But he's still being so emo about it here. Like, oh.
Don't be an ass.
Yeah. Just like Matt said,
That's it.
don't be an
You're
ass.
right. You're right. About Moraine. She's not doing any of
And
this
I
for
love
Arthur.
that Matt is probably the one in the novels that comes to be even more avoidant where the Aes Sedai are concerned,
The lady does
and
shoot
the One
fire.
Power.
Try it.
But he's the one being the voice of reason here and telling Rand, like, maybe we should follow the magic powerful lady for now. Just saying. And I think Lan here is especially, like, not happy with Rand and being like, how dare you question my Moraine Sedai.
White cloaks.
White Cloaks immediately
Do not
hides her
speak
ring,
unless
as if Lan's not giving,
Try
like,
to answer any questions
total
Anthony's
warder
return.
vibes.
Do not mention the White Tower or Aes Sedai. I am a lady from a fallen house. You're under my care.
I mean, technically, those things are true. She is Moraine Damodred, as we will learn further in Season 2. She is a lady from a fallen house. That's not a lie. So we're seeing how she can still manipulate and bend the truth without outright
Be
lying.
so kind as to dismount your horses. Are you headed to Whitebridge?
Yes, sir. I have a sister in the city who hope will let us stay.
It's a dangerous time to be on the road. War in the south, the Aes Sedai heading in force from the White Tower.
Wars and
Checking out
issues don't
Lan.
concern
I feel like
us,
he's
sir.
trying to clock if he's a warder or
We were
not.
just hoping to find a safe place to settle for the night, before the light fades.
Best be on your way then. I'm sorry. If you would indulge here a moment longer, we have one of the questioners with us today.
Jingling his
He will be
collection.
thorough, but brief.
Aes Sedai rings, so yeah, I think he's immediately clocking her
All
for what
those
she
who
is.
seek passage through our land must be properly questioned.
This isn't
Seek passage through our land. This is not your land. You are a long way from Amadisia, sir. But they are a military force, so might makes right in some cases.
Lest they lose them. Search the horses.
But yeah, you being way too handsy with someone, even if you think she's just a noble
They say
woman.
the White Tower dispatched 8 sisters to deal
What are
with
you looking
Loghain's
for?
army to the south. They can't help but get their fingers in others.
Feeding us some
And those others usually
information
end up dead.
here. Name dropping Loghain, hinting at that there's fighting in the south.
Let's have a wound. Pain, it... not healing well.
What happened to you?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
I mean, that's probably true.
It was a monster, sir. 8 feet tall with a mouth like a boar. A group of them overtook the village we were in.
This was in the borderlands.
No, sir, no, west of here, near the Mountains of Mist.
Can I see your wound, ma'am? Trollocs this far south. The Dark One's eye is truly upon us. What was the name of the town where you came from?
Taran Ferry. There were many people hurt there.
Technically true.
Perhaps you
They
can help.
did pass through Terran Ferry. That was the last town they were in.
I said when we can. When you get to Whitebridge, find one. Only one of those women can heal this wound.
Light be with you.
I do like that we see a little brief example here of Bornhold's character, that even though the White Cloaks are notorious for not liking Aes Sedai at a minimum and wanting to eradicate them at the extreme, he's still reasonable enough to know that they are healers and to be able to put aside his own feelings and recommend Moraine go find a sister to help her. So even he is still willing to recognize that they might have some useful aspects.
You said you couldn't break the 3 oaths.
I can't.
You did today.
I did?
I also like Egwene's outfit here, and how, like I said about the last episode, that the costume styling gives a little bit of hints about each character's background and where they come from. You know, like I said, Rand's coat is just made of sheepskin turned inside out and sewn together in patches that probably made from the sheep they raised on their farm. And Egwene's got this really nice, thick, warm, knitted, fleece-lined coat, reflective of her status as the innkeeper / mayor's daughter. Heron's coat is nice. It's got some fur trim around the cuffs and some leatherwork closures and some metal buckles that maybe he made as the blacksmith. And then Matt's coat is very thin and tattered compared to the others.
You walk the footsteps of our father, the trail blazed by our mother. They bore the land with their blood. Onward go.
The first time I heard this rendition of the Song of Manetheren, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, because when you read it in the books, it's like this very like epic, sweeping, like poem style narrative, and so I was expecting it to be more of this like ballad. But instead it is more just like a folk song, and almost had these like country type leanings.
Mountain home.
For me anyway, I don't know about you guys, but yeah, it was like country folk song, which makes sense for the history of the show and the setting of the two rivers in particular. These are country bumpkins here at the start, and I think perhaps their music would reflect that in a way, or at least, you know, would translate for the show in a way that we might be able to relate to.
And they were promised aid if they could hold for 3 days. And somehow they did. Against that monstrous host they held for an hour, then a second.
Do like that even though we didn't get it at the beginning like we do in Eye of the World, we do still get a little epic history lesson from Moraine here, just because the world building and these aspects are what I really love about the Wheel of Time overall, is just not only the epic scope of Randland that I keep talking about with the landscapes, but just the epic world building of not only all the different countries and cultures contained within modern Randland, but also this epic history that's been built up leading up to the novels. So I love anytime we get to take a little story beat to explore things like that.
Not a step of ground was given up until it was soaked in blood. But on the 13th day, the army of Manetheren was gone. Queen Eldrine felt her husband die. Driven by grief, she reached out.
I'm getting a lot of we're taking minutes to focus on each character's reaction here, but Matt in particular, maybe he's being like, some of this sounds vaguely familiar. Why am I getting deja vu hearing you talk about this right now?
But Eldrine had drawn more of the One Power than any woman could ever hope to wield, and it burnt her right through from the inside out. But the children and their minders hidden in the mountains had been saved.
I think this also alludes to where the Two Rivers folk get their stubbornness and their pride from. They have the blood of Manetheren in them.
That was theirs. That is why the song says weep. Weep, weep for Manetheren. Weep for what is lost forever.
And I think the story of Manetheren, not only is it just a cool little fun Easter egg history lesson for the world of the Wheel of Time and gives some background on the Two Rivers and the people that live there now, but I think it also, because I was trying to think about in that shot where it's just all the characters looking out pensively over the landscape, what were they thinking about? Like, oh man, we just thought this was a fun folk song and Moraine just had to come in and be a buzzkill about it. Tell us about the tragic fate of our homeland. But I think that is also the purpose of the story, is to drive home to the Emmons Fielders the stakes that they're playing for this time around. Because if Trollocs are back and in the Two Rivers of all places, then it is possible that we could be facing another such war like the Trolloc Wars that wiped out Manetheren in the first place. Those are the stakes we're fighting for here. Moraine's not just playing around.
Rest. And tomorrow, we'll figure out where to find a sister who can heal you.
Awkward.
Do you want to talk about it?
Sometimes I wish you weren't so fucking awkward.
Come on,
What do you want?
Do you want me to just go back to the way everything was?
No,
Because we can't. You made your decision.
So yeah, you seemed pretty chill with her decisions in episode 1, and now all of a sudden he's being really resentful toward her because of it.
And so is Layla. And here we are in the middle of nowhere being chased by the monsters that killed them, and you won't even look at me. And I just want you to look at me. And not hate me.
I wonder if it's because Rand's also grappling with his own internal conflicts, knowing what he knows about himself. He knows what he could be. He knows he could be the special. And he knows how I feel about men who can channel. So if it's him, he might be being a little scared about his best girl, Egwene, getting so close to an Aes Sedai, and what that could mean for him. Maybe? I don't know. Or he's just being emo Rand. It's not out of character for him. Let's be honest. Again, not really sure what the purpose of Perrin hiding his wound was, except for to have this scene where you think they're just attracted to the smell of blood, which they could be that they are, but not for the reasons he might think. I don't want to eat you, I just want to be your friend. I like how even the wolves are like, "You okay, bud? Looks like you might need some medical attention there." Is that busboy Hopper? Reflex, but okay. Alright, that's it. Just want to say hi, give you some medical attention. Obviously, don't worry about that. Peace out.
Is she going to be all right?
Hearing the wolves there in the background, I wonder if they're trying to warn everybody that
All do.
Trollocs' army is hot on their trail. This is like the second time so far that Gwen has kind of been tipped off that, you know, like her spider senses are tingling. Because I know she was partly like watching Rand leave in episode 1, right before that Fade walked into town. But then she was also, I think, like hearing the wind pick up and listening to the wind and like hearing that there was something weird on the wind. So maybe she's was kind of hearing that again here. Because this is the second time she's been the one to wake up like before anyone else. Because like danger was nearby. You know, even the horses are like, I ain't going in there.
No, she just stopped.
Even the horses know better.
Bella, come on.
What is that?
I think they did a really good job in this episode capturing just the
Wait, look, the Trollocs.
creepy grandeur that is Shadow Logoth, especially with that like massive wall there in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, Trollocs won't follow us inside.
Because that's just another thing that I like about the novels is, yeah, just being able to wander through the countryside and see these epic holdovers from previous ages and the Age of Legends and things like that. I'm just, you know, giving you that sense of time scale and the scope of things that we're dealing with here. So you can just have these epic, advanced cities, but they've been completely abandoned for eons.
Listen. There's no birds. There's no bugs. There's nothing. We'll stay here. She needs to be kept warm.
Shadala Goth. Sounds like the old tongue.
It means Shadow's waiting. But it was once called Aradol. During the Trolloc Wars, it was the richest, most powerful city in the world. But when the world needed them most, they built their wall with no gate, locked themselves inside, and let the other nations of man burn. It was the people of the city who promised Manetheren aid, and they were the ones who let them die. When the Trolloc Wars ended, survivors came here to find food and shelter. When they knocked, no one answered. When they finally broke through the wall, there was no one inside.
I feel like there's a lesson in there somewhere.
Grew from the city's heart,
That
everyone,
like, isolation isn't bad, or if you're not willing to help your fellow man, like they turned on their fellow man when they were needed most, and so
A couple of things.
that feeling just, yeah,
one
like
that's
Lan said, like
more
festered in the heart of the city until they all turned on each
Why
other,
in Light's name did you bring us here?
especially being cooped up and isolated and not able to leave. I could see people turning on each other pretty fast. But again, I think maybe this is just helping to convey to the Emmonsfielders not only that there's so much outside of their small village that they never knew about before, but also, like I said, just like the grand scale and the high stakes that they're playing for now. Like, if the Shadow wins, every city could be like this one. This is what happened, you know, like the last time the Dark One and his forces were really prevalent in the world. And so I could see why that would kind of change Rand's mind and bring them all back together. Because suddenly it's kind of hitting them the scope of everything that they're being dragged into. And particularly in this case, in the case of Shadow Logoth, not isolating yourself from others. Being willing to go to your friends for help and accept help from them. Which Perrin's not quite there yet. He can't quite bring himself yet to lean on his friends and really confess to them what happened with him and his wife.
You should have this. Layla made it. She always said she didn't make weapons, she made tools. And I'd probably use it 1,000 times. Chopping apples.
An interesting little
before I ever needed it to
Easter egg here, I think,
myself.
with that conversation. Matt's talking about where Layla conveys to him the importance
keep it clean
of
so that if I ever did need it.
a knife not just being a weapon, but also being a tool, because that's really crucial to Perrin's overall arc and dilemma in the series. Is, you know, does he choose the hammer or the axe? Does he choose to carry something that can also be used as a tool to help and create? Or does he pick something that's only really seen as a weapon? Something used to kill?
And she thought that'd probably be you. She seemed to think if you ever got into any trouble, it'd probably be my fault. Although, to be perfectly honest, can't see how anyone could reasonably blame me for any of this.
Yeah, that's an interesting little conversation upon rewatch, because I was about to kind of say, oh, this scene's only here so that we can show Matt giving away his knife, so that we'll see why he's even more drawn to pick up a new knife here when he maybe shouldn't, because he needs one now. But yeah, I think it also did a good job at like hinting and like dropping little hints at Perrin's future character dilemmas. Ooh, again, hearing that Padan Fane whistle, hinting that he's here lurking around somewhere. That was probably Padan Fane right there. I haven't found anything else in this whole city. Not one other scrap of furniture or fabric or personal belongings or nothing. But you just find this whole box. That's suspicious. That's weird. Ooh, sparkly. This is definitely always what I see as Matt's Abu in the Cave of Wonders moment. This poor horse. Didn't deserve that. Not a way you want to go out, from the looks of things.
It's all right. I'm here.
Where are we? You've killed us all.
I think in the original books, it's more of like a mist, like a dark, eerie mist that starts filling up the city, as opposed to just like creeping blackness along the surfaces. But I think this, you know, makes more sense for being a little bit easier to avoid than a mist that's permeating the air around you. It also makes for a very convenient way to split our characters up.
Which way? I don't know. Here, come on.
Run, horses, run!
Hoist me up. Why don't you hoist me up? Come on. Ow! Hurry! 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 Brad! Brad, come on! Now! Brad! Now!
Sorry, I'm not talking because the scene is still like just so suspenseful. I'm like watching and be like, oh my god, are they gonna make it out? Especially Rand and Matt there, kind of pretty close. I almost wondered if we were gonna see like some like early hints that maybe Rand or Matt, because they were trying to like throw us off with Matt as a red herring channeler for a bit. I was wondering if we were gonna see little hints that Rand was channeling his way out of these scenarios, but it looked like they just managed to make it out in the nick of time. We'll float on this log. We'll float this log down the river, I guess. Yep. Just literally gonna float a log down the river. Also, you guys really shouldn't be yelling in the middle of the woods, because, like, did you forget the part where there are literal Trollocs just outside the walls looking for you? I doubt they've gone very far. What's this? A ranger caught off his guard? Oh, sorry, wrong movie.
Right now, I'll slit your throat.
But yay, the reappearance of Nynaeve. Rumors of her death were highly exaggerated. But that does it for episode 2. I hope you enjoyed rewatching it with me, and look forward to seeing this posted, maybe as another live watch premiere with you guys. And until next time, stay classy, watchers.